But you must get something out of it, because you talk to these miserable people all day.
But I feel so empty. I don't know if I really notice.
Yeah.
But energetically, I do get tired sometimes, and I can't do more than 2 or 3 sessions a day if I do one-to-ones. So there obviously is some noticing. But also, I sometimes, it's so empty. It's like you can see it happening, but there's not any registration of it. So it's happening.
You mean? I was actually, so I sent you some messages this morning just out of nowhere, because I watched one of your videos that I've seen a couple times, I think, and like you were just talking about everything and nothing, and then like I was just sitting in my backyard, and it's just like my mind will be circling, or it'll just be kind of like in that state of like not really wanting to be here.
Yeah.
And then I just heard that, and it's just like, oh wait, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know? It's like there's just nothing happening. It's like so empty, like you said. It's just like I sit there, and then like after that, it's just like I think I told you, it's just like all of the ways of saying it, like they're all so, a lot of them are like polar opposites. Like some people will say it's complete knowing, some people say it's not knowing. It's like it means the exact thing. Like it's all the same, everything and nothing. It's all the same.
It's really funny, the not knowing and the knowing, because it is both simultaneously. It's known, but yet nothing knows it, so it's not known as well.
But it's not really known that nothing knows it. It's just funny trying to talk about it, because it's so unrelated to actually what it is.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's funny.
Yeah.
And it's just nice too, like, I'll listen to you or like Unmani. You know Unmani, right?
Yeah.
I listen to her sometimes. I like her. She's more of like a personal kind of talker.
Speaker,
she sort of.
You know that her name is Lisa as well?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually, my parents meant to call me Lisa, Liza. I'm Lisa, but they made a mistake on my birth certificate. But I was meant to be Lisa.
Is that like an English?
Sorry?
More type style of name?
What, Lisa?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, really. But Lisa's not that popular actually in England. Lisa or Lisa.
It's not popular here either, now that you mention it. But I don't know if I've ever met someone here named Lisa rather than Lisa.
Yeah, no, that's even less popular. I only know Manny. Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so sweet that she like has her little spiritual name. It's really sweet. She's really cute too. So watching her face and how she just talks about how like it's just so normal. Life is just so normal for her, and it's just like, well, of course it is. Like, how could it not? Like, what would it look otherwise? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to, I had a therapy session yesterday, just like a regular therapist.
Yeah.
And I've been to her before. I went to her a few years ago, but I only went to a couple of sessions, and like, you know, I was going through a lot of like existential stuff back then, like really just like deep depression. And it was really difficult for me to like even find a reason for me to even care about therapy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was weird, like going there, I kind of felt like a resonance with that past state, you know what I mean? Like it just felt the same, because it's the same office, she looked the same, sounded the same, whole place was the same, so it was like, it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But it's like she was,
what type of therapy does she do? Do you know what type it is?
I think it's just, I don't know, I think it's just therapy, like psychotherapy, just plain psychotherapy. I don't know, are there like different sorts?
I think so. I think there's all different schools of it, but actually, and I know some schools, but
I know there are some non-dual therapists, but
yeah,
I don't think there's very many. Because I actually, you were, I think your last talk, you were telling this woman that she was the only call that you've ever gotten from Texas, but I actually live in Texas too.
Oh,
I just don't live super south. I live in Austin, where people don't talk like.
Oh yeah, your accent's not really strong to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, you're in Texas. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, and it's really actually quite nice right now. It's like maybe like 73. It's really humid though. Like I'm sitting outside and it's so humid, but it's like really cloudy. It's just been raining the past week and a half, and it's gonna be raining all week. And I just love this weather, you know.
And and is it quite alternative, Austin, or do you stand out with your like there is they're okay like with alternative scene?
Yeah, no, it's definitely really alternative. Like you'll It's like the LA of Texas, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I can imagine some of Texas is really like straight and narrow and rigid and.
Yeah, I actually haven't been to too many places like that in Texas. I know that a lot of the states that are like that, like I think like Louisiana, Mississippi, like the deep South. I mean, there's some deep South in Texas. It's just I don't really go many places in Texas. I've gone to Houston. Houston's scary. Like that place really scares me.
I've flown through there, but I've never looked at it or been or driven. I've flown through Houston many times, but I've never stopped.
Yeah, I have family that lives there, so I go there sometimes. But it's really like it's nerve-wracking going there. I mean, I really like the sort of like grungy, like lived-in sort of feel, like the like broken fences, like thick bushes and stuff, things like that. So like Houston's kind of like that, but there's also a lot of like lots of violence there, like drug violence, things like that. It's really dirty and really like crowded. And Austin's sort of turning into that, but Austin's I think always going to be sort of like the alternative city of the South. It's like the
And so when you back to the therapy, when you went to go to therapy, you talked to her about non-duality.
Not well. Okay, so I told her I was talking. What did I say? I was talking to her about how. Like, there's this part of me, I had to word it in a way that, like, would make sense to, like, a therapist sort of situation. I was like, there's a part of me that just doesn't... What did I say? I think I was just telling her how, like, oh yeah, that's right. How it's really hard for me to, This is one thing. It's really hard for me to, like, think that I'm going to get somewhere in the future. And, like, how I feel like I'm kind of reluctant to do therapy just because I feel like I'm lying to myself in a way. That's kind of how I worded it to her. Like I'm kidding myself.
Yeah.
And I also told her like the therapy makes me feel like I'm avoiding my emotions when like there's just like this strong pull in me to just like be with most things. Like I mean, there's obviously like a tendency to like try and avoid things like little things. Like I'll smoke a bunch of cigarettes when I'm really stressed out, or like when I'm depressed, I'll like just lie in bed and like sleep, but I don't find that I like want to fix everything that's wrong with me anymore. That's kind of what I was telling her, and it's like and she completely understood. She was like, yeah, I know what you mean. She was talking about like the paradox of like non-resistance, like not resisting your emotions, and they tend to like lighten or soften. She was saying that, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something I've experienced.
Well, that's nice that she can understand that. That's nice.
Yeah, and that's why I like her. She's really open, and like I feel like I can be open with her.
Yeah.
And
I think it's good because you still got to live in this society. So if she can help you understand the dynamics of that personality and that body-mind mechanism, I think this will be really beneficial.
Yeah, and she's I don't know. It's like she kind of understands what I'm saying, but it's like at the same time she like if I bring it up to her, she'll like try and avoid it. She doesn't want to talk about that non-personal stuff, and like I understand that completely because like how are you supposed to do therapy to a non-person?
You got to be someone to fix it and change it and all those things.
And I mean, it just seems kind of like a joke sometimes. Like therapy for what? Like I could get neurosurgery and have the exact same thing. I get a lobotomy.
But the thing is the body has particular characteristics, and it's easier living life being aware of these characteristics than just acting them out all the time. Like acting out like in personal relationships, the same old patterns, and it might not necessarily break, but normally when there's awareness on particular patterns, they're not so strong anymore. Because the character, when the separation is still there, particularly, but even if the separation isn't, you could be conditioned in particular ways that are difficult to be with other people, or like are less productive or something, and so therefore it's easier to be aware of them and to recognize them and to change them a little. It'll make life so much easier. I did therapy as well because I had a lot of problems in my childhood, and by the time I left home, I felt really just really muddled about a lot of things. I did Buddhism and the awakening, but I also had to go through a lot of therapy to just kind of even out my personality.
Did you go through therapy? Was it before you got into non-duality, or was it afterwards? Or was it
On and off throughout the whole thing. You know, I went through a couple of years of rejecting it because there is nobody. And then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm fucked up, let's just do it.
Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not a person. Everybody has really screwed up dynamics. But when you're like, you live in this society, this particular society, and you're having relationships, and then you're awakening at the same time. And you know, it's difficult to be in relationships with people with some of these it's not even necessarily difficult, but relationships are hard enough, let alone with if you've had like a more harder background than most people. Like then you've got even more baggage to take into them. So being aware of those things. So I did different therapies. I did Osho therapies. I did cognitive therapy. I most probably did non-dual therapy as well. I can't remember them all. But, you know, I'd go through periods of be like, there is nobody. And yes, there is nobody. And there's this other part where it's all empty.
But that's irrelevant.
Yeah. And still, I sometimes have bizarre habits. I still have karma acting out of this body. And, you know, and I can get angry in inappropriate situations or respond in not very nice situations. And, like, and there's suddenly an awareness of Lisa's
though, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's kind of funny afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
And you just have to laugh at yourself. It's just like, why am I wasting my time doing that? It's just like, what's the point? You know?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's like, for me at least, I feel like a lot of the time that I'm like rejecting the therapy is like, there's like this fear or like apprehension. Like if I try and like start fixing myself, like, my mind is just going to go right back into like the complete separation with like no sort of recognition of the non-separate nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you ever have that?
Yeah, and so I would go in and out of doing these things, and I had that feeling too. And
like
then
you're afraid that you're going to lose it if you don't think about it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really stupid, but it's like something's really attached to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you think you're going to get somewhere, and it's just like, where?
And then sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes I think I used to feel like I was dumbing myself down to people. It's like
just have to relate to normal societal patterns and individuals.
Yeah.
I have a friend that she's really into the subject sort of, and she's had some experiences or whatnot, and it's like she's sort of turned into like this person where she just kind of I see her like not being able to relate to others like at all.
Yeah.
And she was talking to me. She was like, Harrison, I feel like everybody loves you, and like I just can't be around people. I'm like, yeah, but you know that's because like I'm just really good at bullshitting in front of people. And that might not necessarily be true, like, because I know I definitely have like different personalities around different people.
Yeah.
Like I have really receptive, empathetic sort of reactions to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can like shift. It's like I guess it's like that for a lot of people. We just shift in front of other people.
No,
like,
totally, because you're not really a fixed thing. You're a accumulation of energy, and when a new energy comes in, it shifts your energy. So there's a different, always, in every instant, there's a new Harrison appearing. But he has his flavour, but it's always a new one.
And I don't really know what my flavour is, too. I guess that's up to other people.
Totally. And then you think you have some sort of taste of it, and then you're like, oh no, he does that as well.
Changes, yeah. I mean, any flavour I do have of myself would have to be really superficial anyway. But I mean, because that's all it is. It's just like superficial, sort of like past judgments on something that isn't actually like a constant.
Yeah.
And it's just, but there's also been like this pull. It's completely unrelated. But I was talking to my therapist about this too. Is like I really want to travel. Like I wanted to get out of Texas because I've lived here my whole life. I'm like, I wanted to go to California because I have family. Because actually my whole family, my whole dad's side of the family is from England. They lived in London.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I have English family in Orange County, California, and then there's people in London that I wanted to go see, and it's just like, I want to get out of Texas, and there's like this, sometimes there's just like this horribly strong pull to like escape this part of the world, you know? It's just like, it's the same patterns over and over, and then like, I was talking to her, I'm like, well, because I know that even if I do that, as I was telling her, I was like, I know even if I do that, it's not going to be enough. Like, I'm still going to, I mean, everywhere you go, there you are. That's kind of how I described it. Like, it's not changing anything. And she's like that, but that feeling, or that thought that you've convinced yourself that it's never going to be enough, that can be, she said that can be dealt with. That can be, like, put out of the way. And I mean, she wasn't saying, like, you're going to be satisfied if you do this or that. She was just saying the thought, like the fear of doing this can be dealt with. And that makes a lot of sense. It's like, she's saying it's just like a bunch of thought patterns that, you know, haven't really been looked at all. And like, there's a lot of stuff I haven't looked at. Yeah. I even know if I will look at. It's just so much to look at, you know? Infinite. There's not a lot of draw to do that either. It's like, you know, it's just like stuff comes up. Of course, I'm going to like have to pay attention to it because it's there. Yeah. But it's like, I find it really difficult to search for things to look at. And I guess,
normally they become apparent when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're having trouble relating to someone, then you're like, huh.
And it's really hellish a lot of the time too, Lisa. Like, this whole process or whatever, it's just, sometimes it's just so awful. Like, just the dread and the dissatisfaction. Sometimes it even goes into like despair, and it's just like, what am I doing? Like, why? Yeah. When is this gonna end? And then other times it's just like, that was so stupid. Like, there's nothing that needed to be dealt with anyway.
Yeah, no, totally. And but this is why doing therapy or speaking with me as well, because seeing that when these thoughts come up and these feelings come up, none of them are actually talking about anything. None of them have any truth. They're all hidden belief systems that pass through. And it's really beautiful, because when the contraction comes, even though it's really awful, you'll begin to notice afterwards there's a relief that happens. It's like something's let go of. But none of it's true in the moment. None of it that it's saying, and it's going to try everything. Oh, this is awful. Why am I alive? Anything to keep that energy going.
Oh, it's so funny, because when you said that, it reminded me of how me and my friends will like banter back and forth at each other, like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself if blah 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 doesn't happen. And it's just like, I don't have any filters anymore. Like, I just say what I want to say. And sometimes isn't it to look at it, I'm like, I'm just making it worse. Like, every time I say I want to kill myself, like, I actually want to kill myself. And then other times it's just funny. And I remember I was at work the other day, and this huge table, it was, I think it was like a 4-person table, because I'm a waiter. They come in, and my coworker's just like walking by, and I hear like under her breath, she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. And she saw, and like I was walking towards the table, and she said that, and I heard her, and I almost fell on the ground laughing so hard, like in front of this huge table that just walked in. And looked at me, they were like, just like concerned or like something. It was so hilarious, and they tipped me really nicely too. So, but
you get good tips in America. We don't tip so much in Europe.
Yeah, but then you have high wages though, because I only make $2.14 an hour, which is like,
oh my god, yeah,
which is one pound.
Yeah.
About.
Wow, you wouldn't be allowed to be paid that in Europe.
Mm-mm. See, there's some states I think that are like doing away with lower minimum wages for servers, but it's only for servers. Like, if you're able to make enough tips to where you surpass the minimum wage, which is here is $7.25 an hour, then they don't legally have to pay you. But if you don't make $7.25 total an hour, including your wage and tips, then they have to give you the difference. They have to pay you $7.25, which is really, that doesn't usually happen. Like, I don't think I've ever had a paycheck where I, didn't make, or like a tip night where I didn't make at least $7.25 an hour, even with just tips by itself. But there are some nights it's really bad, and yeah, that place drives me fucking insane, really. Like, it really does. But I love it there. It's like, everyone there's insane. Like, all the cooks, they're ridiculous. There's this it's funny because it's a Vietnamese restaurant, but like a majority of the cooks there are Mexican. And there's this one who like he always touches me and like winks at me and all this stuff, and then like I remember one time he doesn't really speak English, and I'm like, see, his name's Baba, so we call him Baba, and I can say, Baba, I mean, you can talk as much crap about us as you want, but at least I'm not a child predator. And I say that to him, and he just looks at me and laughs.
He's a waiter?
No, he's a cook.
Oh.
He's a cook, and it's really funny because like I really like him. Like we're all family there, but it's just so funny the dynamics that go on there. And like there's another the sushi chef will argue with one of the servers. Sushi chef is Mexican, which is weird. And then one of the servers is Vietnamese, and like she'll yell at him in Vietnamese, and then he'll yell back at her and like curse her out in Spanish, and it's just the funniest thing to watch. Like I can't even explain how ridiculous it is. It's so funny. Wait, what time is it? Let me see.
It's time for my bed soon.
Yeah, I better also leave. I don't know, I didn't mean to take up so much time. I gotta go back to work.
Alright, Harrison, have a nice day.
You too, it was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, and you. Bye.
See you later. Bye.